Welcome to another episode of the Jobology podcast. I'm your host, Brandon, and today my guest is someone who works in the financial industry. His name is Fletcher, and he's going to explain to us exactly what it is that he does and why we should invest early and invest often. So without further ado, Fletcher. Just like to say thank you for being with me today, Fletcher.
Yeah, good to see you again, Brandon. It's been a while.
Yeah, for real. Like long, long while.
Years.
But
Years.
yeah, man. I mean, I'm just trying to get out here and do my thing, and just got to reach out to everybody I can to get on the podcast. So, here we are. But my first question that I always like to ask, so that we can kind of get a baseline of exactly what we're talking about here, is how would you describe like what your job is versus like what's the official title on your business card?
Okay. So I've worked in the financial industry for 6 years now. I hold an insurance license,
Okay.
which gives me access to working with insurance, retirement, and some investment products. We work more on the guaranteed safe side of things.
Cool.
My official title with my company is a marketing director.
Okay.
And unofficially, I'm a broker in the financial industry. So I'm able to sit down with any type of client, doesn't matter what their background is, what their net worth is. Um, there's a lot of need for what we're doing. Obviously, people are paying attention to the market.
Definitely.
After
Yeah.
COVID, life insurance became a little bit more important.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
certain topics have become more trending. So
Hmm.
as a broker, I'm able to represent my clients to dozens of companies that people know and trust nationwide, Prudential, Fidelity, um, Gerber even, right?
Yeah,
You got kids, you know who Gerber is. So I'm able to
definitely.
represent the client to the company to find them the best plan.
So, I mean, a lot of times I'm wrong on this podcast, and that's one of the great things is I always get to learn. Would that be like, I mean, maybe middleman's too simple of a term, but like you're the in between the client and the financial institution?
Yeah, just like in real
Okay.
estate, you have brokers.
Yeah.
I'm a broker in the financial industry,
Okay.
and it's pretty neat because all industries go through the financial industry.
Hmm.
So in recent years, I've partnered with a lot of mortgage and real estate professionals, business owners to help themselves and their employees.
Okay.
Uh, and like I said, when depending on the client situation, I'm finding the plan from a provider for them. And the best part
Okay.
is I'm not fee based, so I'm not charging them a fee. I'm able to find the
Nice.
right thing, educate them. Obviously, I think teaching people is really important if they're not
Yeah.
already financially savvy, which we from
I'm
with
not.
our background in education, right?
Mm-mm.
I failed math, but I was top of my class in English and economics. So
Me too. Hey, look
yeah.
at that.
So
Okay, yeah, so that's understandable. I mean, I am definitely somebody who would consider themselves fairly financially illiterate. So I think people like you are like, I don't know, you're kind of like mythical beings of like, all these financial things that I have no idea. So it's really interesting to get to talk to people like that and maybe pick up a few things that'll be helpful in the future.
definitely, yeah. I pride myself on being able to teach.
Nice.
And as complicated as the financial industry and the economy can be, I try to keep it as simple as possible for my clients. That way, if we're starting on square one, or this is somebody with decades of investment experience, we're all on the same page.
Right. I think that's very important for people. Why? Like, why get into finance? You had mentioned, failing math. So, like, that would kind of
Yeah.
seem like something that may not be the right path, but like, why get into finance in the first place?
Luckily, my job doesn't involve too much math.
Nice.
It's more people skills than anything.
Nice. Okay.
Um, I have spent years in the restaurant industry.
Hmm.
After going to Saints for high school, I went to San Diego State, contracted with the Army Reserve. Wanted to go be an Army helicopter pilot. My dad was a Navy helicopter
Wow.
pilot, so I actually started flying when I was a senior over at Saints,
Oh,
and then
dang. I didn't even know that. That's cool.
finished my pilot's license freshman year of college. So
Wow.
something I've always been passionate about since I was a little kid, and my dreams were to go be a fighter pilot one day.
Yeah.
That didn't work. I went into the military at the worst possible time, right after the 2008 recession. Uh,
Oof.
and I watched a lot of people struggle back then. Even my
Hmm.
parents somewhat struggled, some a lot more than my family. But
Yeah.
coming up in the restaurant industry, I was decent at sales. I was really good with my customers to the point where you keep getting the same people coming back over and over again.
Right.
Uh, and in 2016, I was putting myself through grad school working at Studio Diner, local
Okay.
diner here in San Diego, working full time, going to school at night. and a couple came in to eat, who turned out to become my senior broker.
Oh, shoot. Okay, that's cool.
This was more of an opportunity that just kind of jumped out and bit me more than me going to look for that because I was at the time I was applying to jobs with defense contractors, General
Okay,
Atomics, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, anything
interesting.
that I could apply my degree and my pilot's license to is what I was looking for.
Right.
But I was getting the runaround, lots of interviews, background checks, going and talking to people out of town even. And
Sure.
this was just something that presented itself to me. And luckily, the office was a block away from my restaurant. So
Oh,
it
well,
was
that's
pretty
helpful.
convenient to go interview that next week. And
Yeah.
I actually got started on a part-time basis where I knew nothing. I had to kind of start from square one like a lot of people. So
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's my next kind of question that you kind of took care of there was like the how, is it something you just fell into? Is it something that you like went to school for? But once you actually like are doing that kind of part-time, how do you get to where you're at today?
yeah, I think in a lot of industries, some sectors of the financial industry, real estate, a few entrepreneurial type of business opportunities like that out there will present themselves to you rather than you going to look for them.
Okay.
And just like any big organization, we recruit for talent. We want
Hmm.
talented individuals that'll be able to sit down with clients, effectively communicate, teach, solve problems, all
Sure.
right, and maintain and foster that relationship for decades.
Hmm.
I like to say one thing is we sell life insurance, not month insurance. So I want
Okay.
my
Oh, I like
client
that.
to do business with me and communicate for life until one of us
Right.
is gone.
Yeah.
All right. So
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, that's a like kind of a weird way of looking at it, but yeah, I mean that makes sense. Like, yeah, hey, it is what it is.
I'm really big on the relationship aspect. But to answer your question, Um, these types of industries are designed where somebody can come in with very little to no experience, start part-time, study under a broker. You've seen the movies, Wolf of Wall Street, Boiler Room,
Okay.
Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith, right?
Sure.
Where you don't come necessarily from that educational background. You might
Right.
not have experience in the industry, but certain companies will allow you to start with them on a part-time basis while they train you and put you in a position where it's up to you where if you want to go full time and make this a career, you definitely can. Or this could be a part-time business for somebody
Hmm.
that in conjunction with a full-time job or another career, active duty military. Lots of people have found their way here and transitioned to work here full time because of what it offers and what they've learned.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So, um, that's then my next question is what was the path? But again, we kind of covered that. So, I mean, that's a good thing for people to know. And kind of one of the reasons why I started the podcast is so that people can know what's out there where you go, I don't have that kind of skills. I didn't go to school for that. But you can
Mhm.
be right here going, hey, like you don't have to. It's not that's not a necessity. You can come
Right.
right in. We'll teach you the ways and we'll teach you how to kind of do this. So I think that's very helpful for people.
Yeah, I would say having a degree, I started with a bachelor's degree and
Mhm.
finished my master's program 2 years into
Wow.
the business.
Dang.
And we have 18-year-olds that are super
Mhm.
ambitious, fresh out of high school that come in and do a bang up job. And then we'll have people that are maybe coming out of a 40-year career and
Okay.
restarting somewhere else because their job has maybe failed them.
Mhm.
The economy has failed them. Their education didn't take them to where they wanted to. So I think learning a skill and being able to apply that um, can be more valuable than a
Yeah.
degree.
Nice. I agree too. I mean, that's basically what I'm doing here. There's no degree for this. I was just didn't like my job. It's like I got to figure out something else to do. Luckily enough, I have a fiance that's very supportive and was like,
Mhm.
You have a good idea? Do that. And start doing this." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I
Yep.
guess I'm doing this now." So, yeah, it's similar path, different industries, but I think that's kind of the same vibe I'm getting.
Mhm.
Something I find fascinating about every job that I talk to, and that I think a lot of people either have misconceptions about or just don't know, is what does an average day look like? A lot of people go, "Oh, you must be in an office, you must just sit there." I'm sure you got to do like emails, but like, what does an average day look like for you? What time are you starting? What time are you ending? Do you have work life balance? Is this something where, when you get home, you can shut off, or are you on call basically all day? Can you work from home? Are you in an office? What's the situation exactly?
So thanks to COVID. It's kind of a blessing in disguise where I said this maybe 5 years ago to some of my clients. I said, you know what, one day you and I will be talking. You'll be a millionaire in one of your accounts that I've helped you with, and I'll be on a beach in Fiji doing our annual checkup, right?
Yes.
This was before COVID ever happened, before Zoom was really even a thought. And then
Yeah.
COVID hit. The following month, everybody on Earth jumped on Zoom, right? Everybody
Hmm.
got,
Oh yeah.
and
And Zoom stock went pew through
yeah,
the roof. Yeah.
yeah, got in a little late on that one, but
Yeah.
still, it's a huge tool, very powerful
Hmm.
in most industries. Obviously, if you work in the fast food industry, you can't call in on Zoom, but
Sure.
they can do a staff meeting on Zoom
Yeah.
versus having everybody come in. So I think it's a great tool in every aspect. But as far as a typical day for me, now I'm a business owner.
Okay.
So like you might understand, a business owner initially might not have as much freedom as they signed up for.
Yeah.
So a typical day for me might be a 12-hour day. Could go from 8 to 8, being on Zoom if I'm talking to somebody that's in Guam, because
Hmm.
I do a lot of appointments with active duty military. I've talked to people in Guam, Okinawa, Japan, Germany,
Hmm.
Africa, you name it. I've
Sure.
probably talked to somebody on every continent except Antarctica at this point.
Yet.
Yeah, there's not too many people there anyways. Maybe
No, no.
talk to some penguins down there or something.
Yeah.
But typical day, I'll make myself available to my clients and my team between 8 to 8.
Okay.
Now, I'll have days where I do pull a 12, 14, 16-hour day. Depends on
Oof.
what I have going on. However, as a business owner, if I don't have anything going on, like last Tuesday, we got 2 feet of snow in the local mountains here in San Diego,
Hmm.
and I took my girlfriend and my dog, and we had a snow day on a Tuesday.
Nice. Hey,
And it was beautiful because it was still snowing just a little bit, just enough where we were having fun, but not getting stuck anywhere.
not frozen. Yeah.
And we were the only people on the mountain.
Nice, because everybody's, yeah, at work.
Everybody's at
Okay.
work or at school, so we had the whole place to ourselves.
Nice.
Um, I work based off of my schedule,
Okay.
just like this appointment with you today. That was that was on the calendar. Nothing else was going to replace that. And
Mm.
fast forward to the weekend. If I've got the whole day off on Saturday and I've got no client appointments, I do make myself available to work with my team if I need to
Okay.
train somebody or take care of any accounts with them.
Sure.
Uh, but if I've got the day off, I get to shut down, turn off, go enjoy myself.
Disconnect. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Is
and
that like, do you typically try to do that where you go, hey, I try and like give myself a free day, or do you try and like just go, hey,
yeah,
unfortunately, business is business. Whatever comes up, comes up. Like, there's not much I can do, or
yeah.
do you have the flexibility to do that?
At this stage of my career, business does take priority.
Sure.
Um, I say that because I have a team that depends on me,
Hmm.
and I have clients that I've made a promise to that if
Yeah.
they call me, I'm going to be there to answer. I think a big problem a lot of people will find with a typical financial professional, whether they've got their benefits set up or they've got serious investments set up with this person, is on a lot of cases that financial professional will set them up on an account and disappear. And they
Yeah.
will not see or hear from that person for decades until someone like myself shows up and I'll say, hey, my phone right here is on for you 24/7. Please don't call me at 2 a.m. But if
Sure.
it's an emergency, I am here for you.
Right.
So if even if I'm at a country on vacation, if somebody calls, I'm going to do my best to get back to them in a reasonable time frame.
Right.
But like I said, I'll schedule everything out, and if I've got the day off where maybe I need to come to the office for 1 or 2 hours, I'll come in, take care of what I need to do, and I'll go enjoy myself. It's
Bounce. Okay.
still a big world and a lot
Yeah.
of life to experience.
Yeah, definitely. Is this a job that is like salary, hourly, like commission based? How do you like, I guess, finance yourself for
Right.
lack of a better
So
term? Yeah.
for myself, I am 100% commission.
Okay.
Now, coming from the restaurant industry where I showed up
Hmm.
for tips is honestly not too different. And I
Yeah.
make a direct correlation between, hey, if I'm a good waiter and I don't forget your ranch and I keep your drinks topped off and your food comes out the way that you ordered it, then you're going to tip me accordingly.
Right.
And vice versa. If I forget everything and never come back to your table after your food
Yeah.
shows up, you're probably not going to leave me a tip. Kind of works the same here, where the
Okay.
better I do for my clients, the more I can expect to make. And that goes kind of hand in hand with current events.
Okay.
Um, Due to a current recession that we're just going into, taxes are going up, inflation's at an all-time high.
Yeah.
People are losing or transitioning in between jobs.
Yeah.
There is a high demand for what I do,
Mhm.
and people need to start saving more money now that things are getting more expensive. That means their
Yeah.
retirement will become more expensive.
Okay.
So as everything else is becoming harder to come by and more expensive to accomplish, what I make for helping a client has also gone up in recent
Okay.
years. I think I mentioned this a few minutes ago. I'm not a fee-based financial advisor. I'm not a registered
Okay.
rep. So whenever a client sits down with me, they don't have to worry about me sending them a bill after the fact. Or
Gotcha.
when they see their statements, they're going to see my fee taken out of everything that I've done for them. Because I'm an independent contractor and a broker, I can represent you to Nationwide, let's say.
Mhm.
If I've gotten you set up with a retirement plan, that's in force. You're making monthly contributions, annual, one time, whatever we decide upon for your individualized plan.
Sure.
Nationwide would then pay me directly via.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's nothing
Gotcha.
that costs my clients extra versus sitting down with a traditional financial advisor, typically the older guys that have been in the industry for longer than I've been alive.
Yeah.
Will charge a fee based on you putting money in,
Mhm.
or taking a withdrawal, or just sitting down with them to get some advice.
Okay.
In my case, my advice is free. For bringing a new client to our providers, they pay me directly.
Gotcha. Okay, so kind of like a I make money when you make money sort of thing, or like I make money when you save money kind of thing. Like,
And
okay.
in full transparency, I'll have a client many times they'll ask me, "Hey Fletcher, what are you going to make on this deal?" And I'll pull up their account and I'll say, "Okay, so Brandon, I'm going to set you up. You're going to put away $500 a month from
Okay.
now until you retire. Let's say age 65. You've contributed a couple $100,000. You've grown that account to be, let's say, 3 or 4 million at
Mhm.
retirement age, right? And if we do that right, there's no taxes involved. We can get into that conversation a little later.
Yeah.
But some of the products that we have are really cool in the fact that, while taxes are going up, if somebody's starting from scratch in a certain plan, they will pay no taxes when they pull that money out.
Nice.
And I'll say, well, Brandon, if you're putting away $500, I'm going to make $3,000 in commission
Okay.
setting this up for you. You're going to make 3 million. I'm going to make 3,000 for helping you today.
Yeah.
And this isn't something that you're going to have to pay me. It's not going to come out of your pocket.
Mhm.
Nationwide's going to send me that check once we're all said and done.
Nice.
Like,
Okay,
wow.
that makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm being compensated very well for my time because typical client appointment takes an hour, maybe
Yeah.
two. They've got a lot of questions,
Sure.
and I'll average a few thousand per client. Some of the big cases could be a 5 or 6 figure commission, just kind of depends what we're working with.
Nice.
And then, unlike a lot of other industries out there, we have a residual on every active account. So I actually had one of my agents who's a full-time real estate agent just called me right now. Call
Nice.
back after this. But you've seen, I don't know, some of our friends, Nick Wilhite.
Mhm.
You remember him. You should bring him on here. I'll tell him I referred him to you. Uh,
Okay, will do.
he lives up in Bend, Oregon now. He moved up there with his wife and kids. Full-time real estate agent up there. I
Okay.
was able to help him out with a couple of things. And we had a very similar conversation where a real estate agent will go and sell a house and they'll make 3 or 4% of a house. Now,
Yeah.
depending where you're selling the house, Southern California, you can expect
Mhm.
to do pretty well on every house you sell. If you're
Yeah.
selling a house in Alabama, out in the woods, you might not make as much.
Right.
Probably less demand there too. You want to be in a city.
Yeah.
Uh, but while a real estate agent can go and make a 5, maybe a 6 figure commission on selling a house, they'll
Mhm.
never see another penny come from that deal.
Right. It's done once it's sold. Yeah.
One and done. The only way you make more money from that client is helping them sell the house you just got them,
Right.
or
Buy another one. Yeah.
yeah. So some real estate agents do very well, but it's from one deal to the next.
Gotcha.
My industry, aside from my personal compensation on a new piece of business, I'll have a residual income stream come off of every single active account, and I have hundreds at this point in my
Mm.
career, along with my team. And I have
Gotcha.
about 24, 25 licensed agents that I have brought on and trained.
Nice.
I'm not their boss. I think of
Yeah.
myself more as a leader to them than anything.
Right.
Uh, to teach them how products work, move them through the system, help them with their initial clients, and then
Yeah.
get them out there so they can go be independent. Also
Nice.
compensated a small portion
Sure.
on production too.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you're the one that kinda got them going, started. That makes total
Right.
sense. Okay, that's awesome. That's a great way of kinda breaking that down for people to understand, and I like having that clarity of like, "Hey, this is what I'm gonna make." Like, I'll tell you straight up, there's no
Right.
reason for me to hide it. If I'm
Right.
hiding things, that seems a little more sketchy than just coming
Right.
out and telling you.
Yeah, because in any other situation, if you were going to go sit down with a financial professional and let's say you're setting up an investment portfolio with them, they would disclose up front, hey, here's my fee. At least they
Mhm.
should, right? A
Yeah.
good one would tell
Yeah.
you up front. So you're aware of it. That way you're not saying, well, every time I give you $1,000, only 950 actually goes into my account. Where's that $50 going?
Yeah.
So a good advisor will let you know the fee. If my client wants to know, I'll break it down for them and I'm gonna show them exactly how it works. In some
Yeah.
cases, they become interested in, hey, how can I get involved with your company? Or can I
Alright.
give you referrals? Right?
Yeah.
Do you guys compensate for that? I say absolutely. Because
Nice.
without those referrals, word of mouth, we would have never had those clients. Those people wouldn't get helped. We're all about
Yeah.
help. And the last thing I can touch on building that team, aside from me conducting my own business, is having a team, having the ability to scale my business provides stability to my income.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of people watching this could agree that when they go to start their own business, detailing cars, mowing lawns,
Yeah.
selling t-shirts, you're you're transactional from one to the next. And if
Right.
business slows down and you're by yourself, you wake up every day unemployed until you've got your
Yeah.
next.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
in my industry, when I can kind of stabilize and build a foundation to my business, where one day I can step away and it operates without me.
That's ideal. Yeah. Then you're on the Fiji then you're in Fiji on the beach talking to
Yes,
people going, "Yep, things are
definitely.
going great. Talk to you tomorrow." Talk
Yeah,
to you later.
yeah,
Okay, cool. Um, I like, is there benefits with that? Like, I mean, because you said independent contractor, so do you have
yeah.
to, like, cover your own insurance and, like, dental and medical, all that stuff, or is there how does that work?
There are a few plans out there
Okay.
that the company offers, and I am a client of
Mhm.
my own of the products that I sell. You
Nice.
know, when I sit down with a client, I'm presenting. I say, "Hey, I have a nationwide life insurance policy. I invest
Mhm.
my own money into this. That's why I believe in it and trust it."
Yeah, that would be pretty bad if you were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna set you guys up with this, but I do this thing over here." I don't
Right.
the yeah.
Right, you don't wanna go buy I have an Audi, right? You don't wanna go buy an
Yeah.
Audi from the guy that drives a Beamer.
Right. Yeah,
It's
totally.
gonna be
That makes
biased.
sense. Mhm.
It's black and white with
Yeah,
those 2 communities, but, you wanna take advice from the people that believe and own that same product.
sure.
Um, as far as, when it comes to health insurance, I've got my own healthcare plan, but when it comes
Okay.
to more higher level things,
Mhm.
insurance, long-term care, living
Yeah.
benefits like heart attack, cancer, stroke. I've got things in place from my own company
Nice.
that I was able to set up.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. And then, you had kinda touched on having a team under you, so, I mean, that is that, like, the job hierarchy? You're the leader, you have a team, and
Yeah.
basically the idea is to make them self-sufficient?
Yeah, so I saw on that
Okay.
list of questions that,
Yeah.
you asked about hierarchy structure, and that's how we refer to it in this industry, is, the senior broker that talked to me that night at my
Mhm.
restaurant, invited me to come in and interview with him. He was the one that onboarded me. He trained me from square one.
Nice.
I was extremely financially irresponsible and
Yeah.
illiterate at that point in my life.
Me
Uh,
too.
yeah, living off my credit card and,
Yep.
not saving, no retirement, no life insurance plan.
Transferring the balance to another card and transferring
Yeah,
the balance.
been
Yep.
there,
Oh,
been
yeah.
there. And
Yep.
having that experience made me able to relate to other people as I was sitting
Sure.
down with families over the years. That, "Hey, I've been there, it's nothing to be ashamed about.
Mhm.
We're in one of the most expensive cities in America, so don't blame
Yeah.
yourself."
Yeah.
It's just
Definitely.
maybe something that was never taught to you growing up.
Yeah.
It wasn't taught to me, but I've learned, and now
Mhm.
I can, relay that to other people. But,
Nice.
as far as my senior broker bringing me on, it wasn't just him because he had a senior broker, and then that
Gotcha.
guy had a senior broker ahead of him, and there's
Sure.
some big names. There's some pretty big names in our company. Uh,
Nice.
Ed Milet, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins,
Oh,
all these
okay.
guys
Yeah.
are either directly in the company. Ed Milet got started with us and had gone out
Wow.
to become an author and a world-renowned public speaker and doing
Yeah.
some big things. And so a lot of people have gotten involved, and those are additional resources that we have to turn to
Nice.
for life experience, what to do with
Yeah.
certain clients.
Business experience. Sure.
Right, right.
Okay.
And that kind of trickles down throughout the generations to my agents and the agents under those agents and
Yeah.
for decades to come, where you've got guys that have been around, men and women that have been here for decades, some cases make millions of dollars a year.
Yeah.
And I always thought when I first came into the company, I was like, that guy makes $2 million a year. He's not going to want to talk to me.
Right. Yeah, of course. That's what I would think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I have more pictures from company events with multi-million-dollar earners than I do with my
Mhm.
own because
Nice. I
because
like that.
these people are so willing to be like, yeah, let's take a picture. You know what? Hey, connect with me on Instagram. I'd
Mhm.
like to talk to you one of these days.
Yeah. That's
You
awesome.
know, and they're always willing to help and share their experience rather than what you would expect from somebody that's very successful is, hey, back up, don't talk to me.
Yeah, like arm's length almost.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I see you. Hi, good to see you, but I'm doing my own thing. I'm busy. Yeah.
A lot of mutual respect
Awesome.
from the newest trainee all the way up to the founder of the company. Even.
Nice. Do you like are you taking on new people right now to join your company?
Yeah,
Like, how does
yeah,
that work?
absolutely.
Okay.
Going back to the conversation though, you mentioned something a little while ago where a lot of people have gone and gotten a degree or
Hmm.
certificate or try to go a certain route. In 2020, when we started getting on Zoom and I was very active on LinkedIn, connecting with all kinds of people, I've got
Yeah.
like 12,000 connections on LinkedIn at this point.
Nice.
And I've talked to almost every single one of those people. It's not just a meaningless connection.
Yeah,
A
just a
lot,
click.
a lot of people in after COVID, they all went and got their IT certificate,
Hmm.
whether it was programming or graphic design
Hmm.
or back end, all these Microsoft full stack, XI, you know, can't even name them
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, I know.
Hundreds of thousands of people went and got certificates online to be able to
Yeah.
go work in tech,
Hmm.
but there was only 100,000 jobs out there,
Right.
if that. So there was a whole bunch of people applying for the same position, and a lot of people weren't getting anywhere and had to go
Hmm.
take other jobs. So we've been looking for people to bring on that
Nice.
number one want to help people.
Yeah.
Uh, Talk to lots of people that want to be salespeople.
Hmm.
I just want to come in and make money. I want to make millions of dollars. I don't care who I hurt. I don't care who I step on.
Yeah.
Uh, I just want to do it. That's not who we're looking for. We want to bring on somebody that genuinely cares about improving someone's situation.
Okay.
You know, you frequently encounter people with tens of thousands of dollars worth of debt, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt,
Yeah.
um, where another financial advisor would say, you know what, I'm not going to touch you. I'm not going to talk to you. Come back when you have like $100,000 to play with.
You're right.
In my case, it's in my best interest to help that person and teach them what methods there are to pay that off or
Hmm.
negotiate that balance down, help them get out of there so I can work with them to start saving money.
Yeah.
Same goes for a client that's got a very small net worth or wants to start with $20 a month.
Right.
You know, so we want those people that can come in and are willing to work with the smaller clients to build themselves up to work to be able to handle the big clients.
Nice. What
Um,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, actually, no, you go because I was going to lose my train of thought.
No, you're good. What advice would you have like for somebody just starting into out in that role of like, I mean, you kind of had mentioned like you got to be there for the client. Is that
Yeah.
basically it? Like, is that the
Well, I think yeah, having a good heart, being
okay?
able to be unbiased and put the client's need ahead of yourself,
Hmm.
because this is a commission-based industry, so some people will get commission breath, is what we call it. They'll sit
Hmm.
down with a client, they'll be like, "You have how much?" "Okay. All right, well, let's take the whole thing and put it in there to
Yeah,
maximize the commission." Typically not the right thing to do.
sure.
You always want to think what's the client's needs, what are their goals, when do they want to
Yeah,
retire, who's depending on this money aside from that just that individual,
that's a
kids,
good
grandkids,
question. Yeah.
right? Um,
Kind of like put yourself in their shoes and be like, all right, if I was this person, what would I want to do for me?
right,
Okay. Yeah,
right.
that makes
Because
sense.
just thinking about collecting a check isn't
Right.
going to get them to where they want to be, and you also don't want to lose that client down the road because you took advantage.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that's
even
kind of
though,
what separates your company from like all the other ones. It would seem from somebody on the outside.
yeah,
That's kind of what separates you is the like, well, yeah, I mean, I could be in it for the quick buck. I could be in it
mhm,
to, make as much as I can, but I can also, or I could be in it to actually help people and actually try
right.
and get people more stabilized.
Because the ones that you help and do right by, they're the ones that their kids. Like, let's say you bring on a
Mm,
single mom, doesn't make a lot of money. She says, "Hey, I just want a small life insurance policy." No problem. Even if it's costing me money to do this, which is not normally not the case, but
sure,
in
but it could
cases
be. Yeah.
if I'm going to make $100
Hmm.
on setting up a very small plan for somebody, I'll still do it because you never know that their little boy might go become a professional athlete one day.
That's
And
true.
now you're the one that gets to help him manage his multi-million dollar contract.
Yeah.
Uh,
Nice. Okay, that makes sense. Or
whereas,
you don't ever know who anybody knows. So
yes,
if help out one person and they're like, "Wow, that was really great," and then they meet and they're like, "You should talk to," and then you get on a whole new
yeah,
client, new people. Okay,
yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I think that's really smart, like way of thinking about it instead of that quick buck.
yeah. So caring about people,
Hmm.
wanting to help, wanting to teach, that's big.
Yeah.
Um, I had people come into my office 10 times a day asking me, "Hey, how do you do this? How do you do that?" Or it might be something completely unbusiness related. "Fletcher, I
Yeah.
want to buy my first gun. Will you teach me how to use it safely?"
Yeah.
Um,
So that could be a conversation we have in the future too,
Yeah, I
but
could
we'll get there
I'm
eventually.
the go-to guy in a lot of cases when it comes to
Nice.
that, aviation, cars,
Oh yeah,
um,
that makes
so
sense.
I love to teach, and
Nice.
my people can count on me to not say, "You know what, go look that up yourself." Like, "You know what?
Hmm.
It's gonna save you a lot of time. Let me tell you in 2 minutes."
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
the
I
other
like that.
side, you said somebody new coming into the industry.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My best advice to somebody that's new is to be a sponge.
Mm, I
The
like that.
biggest sponge imaginable. Learn as
Mhm.
much as you can and be the most absorbent sponge so you can learn that as fast as possible and retain that information.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are looking for the answers.
Right.
They don't want to go find that out for themselves and they want to apply it very quickly.
Mhm.
They'll say, "Hey, how do I do something?" And I'll tell them. And now it's what are you going to do with that information? Are you just going to hold on to it? Or are you going to go wring that sponge out into a cup and hand that glass to a client?
Nice.
The
Oh, I
water.
like that.
Hopefully I was made it up. Hopefully the water's clean.
Yeah,
So
well, yeah, yeah, that's a good
it's
point. I like
learning
that.
and then quickly applying.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people will come in and stay in the learning phase for years.
Yeah.
I figured out pretty quick that my broker needed me to learn as fast as possible and go apply it. That way he could leverage my capabilities of working with clients and teaching other new agents, which was the case.
Yeah.
Um, I was in training for 2 months. My third month, I was independent in front of clients.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good way of looking at it too, I think. Like be a sponge, absorb, but then also you gotta eventually you can't soak up everything. Like you'll be
Right.
full. You gotta eventually ring that thing. Okay. I like that. That's cool. It's a good way of putting it. Um, how could I, as like somebody, let's say I'm coming in to sit down with you and talk about my financial future, how could I be better to you as like just a regular average Joe? Like what could I do to make your job easier?
As a client,
Yeah.
that's a hard question to answer, honestly.
Something I thought of, and I mean, I don't know, maybe you can correct me again. That's why I love doing this, is I like to get corrected. Is it like something as simple as like be transparent? Because I feel like maybe a lot of people
Yeah.
try and hide stuff or say like, oh yeah, I have debt and it's $1,000 when really it's, $10,000 in debt, but they don't want to be
Yeah.
necessarily too transparent with that.
I've come across that particular situation
Mhm.
before where in most cases when I'm working with a client, they're pretty open to whatever I have to say and whatever questions I'm asking.
Yeah,
Um, Occasionally you'll come across somebody where they don't want to disclose their income, they don't
sure.
want to disclose how much debt they have or where they're spending their money. If I'm doing a budget for a client,
Yeah.
$1,000 that just mysteriously disappears every month. I'm like, well, where's that
Mm.
going? You're like, oh, like stuff. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
hey, I want
Really,
to
because
help
it
you.
says ATM Saquon Casino every
Yeah,
Friday night. Like,
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
There's all kinds of things that people spend their money on that's just
Oh.
frivolous, never
Mhm.
accomplishes anything. But yeah, transparency on the client's behalf definitely helps me do my job.
Okay.
Uh, and then I think my biggest pet peeve is when I'm teaching somebody that's brand new to some of these concepts. Some of
Mhm.
these concepts they've never heard before.
Yeah.
And what I've seen is that people will occasionally be more trusting of a family member or a friend than a licensed professional.
Yeah.
Say, "Hey, he said I needed to open this kind of account or I needed to make some corrections. Cousin Johnny, what do you think? You have a nice car. What do you think? Oh, that guy, he's trying to take your money."
Yeah.
And they'll, in some cases, take the cousin's advice over a professional's advice, and it can result in them continuing to lose money.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, a lot of times, like people would think, like, "Oh, I'll take his advice because I know them," but it's like your situation may be so different from theirs that whatever they're doing is working for them, but it's not necessarily going to work for you in that
Right,
situation.
right.
Okay.
I typically don't get too much pushback,
Yeah.
and I think it's the way I present our concepts and solutions and the way I
Sure.
present myself.
Yeah. If you're an open book, then people are going to know, like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I can trust this person."
I've When I sit down with any new client, I tell them about myself, my background. My background definitely helps with me being able to relate to people. Everything that I've done, I'll find a way to relate. And even if it's, oh, you're a veterinarian and you love cats and I'm a dog guy, well, we can still agree on the fact that we love animals.
Yep. Ah, I like that.
I'm big on building rapport with the client so they feel comfortable with me. And I think that'll
Right.
take down a lot of the walls. That way they're open with sharing and proceeding with whatever I recommend.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, that makes a lot of sense for me.
Yeah.
So I have a couple questions that are job related. Hopefully, if they're not, you're more than welcome to say, "Hey, that doesn't really apply," or "And it's not really what we're doing here."
Okay.
But my first question is there a financial tip that you have that everyone can use, regardless of portfolio size, income, debt level, just a blanket like, "Hey, here's a great financial tip for everyone."
Yeah. One that I've heard a lot recently, it's invest early and invest often.
Okay.
And, you can make more analogies. The best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The
Hmm.
second best time, or I'm sorry, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Second best time to plant a tree is right now.
Hmm.
And when you break that down to somebody, if I'm talking to somebody that's in their 40s or 50s and they're just getting started on their retirement, it's look, obviously you should have started this the day you got your first paycheck when you were 16. I
Yep.
started working when I was 16. I went from playing
Same.
baseball to, all right, time to get to work. Now I'm old
Yep,
enough
same.
to get a job. And I've gone through phases of my life where I've been a really good saver and then I've been a really good spender, a really good saver,
Mhm.
really good spender. And investing was never really taught to me. They don't teach it in
Yeah.
schools. My
Mm-mm.
parents, the more I talk to my parents, I've learned about their struggles with investing over the years,
Yeah.
especially when I was just 16, 17, 18 years old, when they're getting taken advantage of left and right by some of these people.
Yep.
Uh, and I wish I had known about some of the ways to invest before. I think,
Sure.
they say it's time in the market, not timing the market.
Oh,
We saw
okay.
in 2020, 2021 when crypto was exploding,
Yeah.
everyone's trying to get in, and I know myself, I got really emotional about my crypto wallet, where I'm
Mhm.
like, "Oh, okay, it's up today, I gotta sell. Oh, it's down today. Okay, now I need to buy more," and it's just all day long, you spend 20 hours a day staring at your phone, trying to decide, "Do I buy? Do I sell? What am I doing?" And
Yeah.
it always results in you losing money when you're trying to do
Yeah.
that. 10 out of 10 times, people will end up losing more than they make because they get emotional about something
Right.
and they'll make a transaction at the wrong time.
Okay.
So, my advice is to find a way to consistently save and invest starting now.
Nice. Okay. I like that.
The second part of that is be careful where you get your advice from
Mm.
because I try to be as unbiased as possible. Obviously, I have my products that I can offer, so I'm
Sure.
going to gravitate towards that. Now, I do own these, so I wouldn't own them if I didn't believe in them and think they were going to work.
Right.
Uh, but a lot of people, like I said, they'll take advice from their friends or their coworkers or someone on Instagram versus
Yeah.
talking to a professional in that field, in that
Mhm.
sector, in the industry to find out, hey, what are you recommending you do to your clients or that your clients do for themselves? And what's that look like long
Okay.
term? So start save if anything, start saving, but then go out and get some good advice from someone that's reputable that's been doing it for a little while, not
Yeah.
someone that started 6 months ago, but maybe somebody with years of experience
Yeah.
and see. what they can make recommendations for and against whatever you're doing.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point too. Of the get like a lot of times people are like, "Oh, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need," but then there's that flip side of like, but also don't do this. Like that, stay away from that.
With every account that I set up for a client, I'm like, "Look, this is my recommendation. This is the prescription, right? I'm the doctor,
Yeah.
you're the patient. This is my recommendation for you for the next 20, 30, 40 years.
Right.
You deviate from this plan, it's not going to work the way I've set it up.
Yeah.
If you contribute for 4 years and then you immediately withdraw all your money from it, you're
Mhm.
not gonna see what I'm quoting you at age 65. You're
Right.
gonna see whatever you have 4 years down the road. Or if it's something that you're gonna try to constantly alter or modify. Yeah. I'll tell them, "Don't do it," in that case.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think because like kind of how you said, of like a prescription, it's like, well, when doctors prescribe medicine, it's take these, don't take these with
Uh-huh.
it because then there could be disastrous, complications. So
If they say, "Take 4
yeah,
a day, don't take 8," definitely don't take 1 because it's not gonna work.
right. Okay, I like that. I like that comparison. Um, we had talked about taxes earlier. I have
Yeah.
a question about kind of taxes, but more just like again, kind of on the advice to uh, I don't know, level, is there like a piece of tax advice that you could give people or like something that you know in the industry right now that maybe the average person doesn't?
Yeah, yeah, so I mentioned taxes earlier. Now,
Mhm.
for myself, as a financial professional, I do operate under a 1099 contract with my company,
Right.
so can be a really good thing, can also hurt people in the long run too.
Yeah.
When I started part-time, I was working full-time at a restaurant and then working part-time here. Really awesome when it came to doing my taxes because I paid all my taxes at the restaurant and then I had a lot of tax write-offs here. I have an office, I have a car,
Mhm.
I have equipment, travel, meals with clients, so on and so forth, that I'm able to write a lot of that off on my
Okay.
taxes and get a lot of the tax money back from my W-2 job.
Oh,
So
okay.
worked out pretty nice when I did it like that. Since 2019, I've been full time in the financial industry, so now I'm at having to pay taxes,
Yeah.
and it all comes down to what you make versus what you write off. And
Okay.
there is a right way to go about that too, because if you're someone that's looking to buy a house or get a loan and you need to show a certain amount of income, you don't
Mhm.
want to write off every single possible thing because it hurts your net income. You have your gross,
Gotcha.
your net is what's left over after your deductions.
Yeah.
So there's certain ways you want to do that. And I've partnered with a lot of tax professionals and CPAs over the years to help myself, my team, and my clients.
Right.
On the client side, there's two avenues that can help people with a lot of taxes. When I'm moving something for a client, like a 401k, IRA, military savings plan,
Sure.
there's really nothing I can do to just take away the taxes.
Yeah.
If you're already in a situation where you're going to owe the IRS, all I can do is educate you and prepare you for what you'll need to do when that time comes.
Right.
Give you your options, tell you what to do, link you up with the CPA so they can get that actually done. Um, but if someone's starting from scratch, we have a handful of products and solutions out there that they can start and invest thousands, tens of thousands, millions,
Mhm.
and grow that into hundreds of millions, billions even. This is
Wow.
what the wealthy do, and you'll see some of
Yeah.
the products trending online. Without getting product specific,
Sure.
products out there that people can invest into, pay no taxes ever on the contribution, on the distribution, on the death benefit left to their family,
Mhm.
and that is how the rich have gotten richer generationally and pay little to no taxes on those investments. So there's a lot of plans out there like that. And then when it comes to business owners, we have ways where they're able to structure their taxes through certain plans, bonuses, company benefits we can set up for them. So there's ways that we can also help people increase their bottom line if they're business owners. There's
Okay,
options.
cool. Okay. So, I mean, from what I'm gathering, it would make sense to go sit down with a financial professional if
Yeah.
you're a business owner, regular person, whatever. Like, it just seems to make more sense than trying to go about it by yourself.
But
The last question that I have for you in job specific category here is what's like the biggest financial misconception?
I think a big financial misconception is that people view money as something that they need to hold on to.
Okay.
and just continuously trying to save and amass wealth
Like
is a
hoard
way
it.
to, yeah, to hoard
Mhm.
money is an actual way to become wealthy.
Mhm.
And I think that's pretty much 100% wrong, because if you look at the current banking system,
Yeah.
if you have $1 million in your bank, you could not walk in there and ask for all $1 million out of your bank account. They
Nope.
don't have that money on hand.
Mm-mm.
Likewise, if that money sits in the bank, what are they giving you as far as interest?
Like 0.001%, I think, or something like that usually.
Might as well be 0, honestly.
Yeah. Penny on the
And
dollar. Yeah.
right. And if you do make some money, like if you had $1 million in your bank account, you might see $1,000 in interest if you
Mhm.
have a decent savings account. And that bank expects you to pay taxes on that $1,000.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Now, here's the real financial misconception. Do you know what the bank does with the money that you save?
So I do because I used to work for a bank, but I'll let you explain better because I think you'll explain it better than I will.
So maybe something that you've come across before, but banks actually invest a lot of your money with
Yep.
companies like mine, because they can see returns of 20, 30, 40, 50% a year
Yep.
and pay little to no taxes on that, grow the account value of the actual bank, and then turn around and give you 0.01% in interest.
Right.
So a concept that we're teaching our clients is don't bank with the bank, bank where the banks bank, right?
Okay, I like that.
Insurance assets and index
Yeah.
strategies and accounts with guarantees. Don't put your money at risk. Put them into accounts with guarantees, but put them in accounts that outpace inflation, because your money is going to lose value while sitting at the
Yeah,
bank.
that's true.
Um, Experience little to no taxes, and in some cases can outperform the stock market by triple.
Okay.
So I think that's something. They've written a lot of books on this.
Yeah.
That's something that most people don't think about. They look at, okay, I'm saving, and I have a company sponsored 401k. I'm
Yeah.
doing my part. Maybe I've got a little crypto. I got some money on Robinhood. I
Yeah.
might be okay. But you look
That
at
was me. I mean, that was me for
was
majority of
yeah.
my life. Yeah,
If
for
you look
sure.
at what the banks do and what the wealthy do, they're putting them into some real assets that accumulate a lot of wealth.
Okay. I like that. That's a good like thing for people to think about where it's like, hey, if the bank is taking your money and putting it elsewhere, maybe just
Mhm.
go put your money elsewhere. Like you don't have to go through the bank to do it, like to have them do it against you. It's not even for you at that point.
Right. And
Like
then last tip.
yeah,
You look at the stock market, right? If you zoom out and you look at the stock market for the last 65 years, it has averaged 7 to 8%,
okay,
right? If you zoom in and look at year after year, you're going to have some years that are good, and then you're going to have your 2001, 2002, 2008. You're going to have your 2022 last year. Right? You're going to have a lot of negative years. Now, I started that concept with time in the market, not timing the market.
right,
If you are looking at certain investment type products where you experience loss, it will take you a lot longer to keep up with some products that experience no loss guaranteed.
right,
So, in some of the plans that I specialize, what makes my job fun and very easy as far as the conversation goes with my clients is that I can guarantee them they'll never see a negative rate of return, which
wow,
just eliminating the negative years automatically increases their average rate of return.
yeah,
Depending on what else we're looking at, they have a lot of accounts that will double or triple the current rate of return of whatever the market shows.
nice. Okay, that
So
makes sense.
yeah, so I think a lot of people they look at, oh, I had a bad year, my IRA lost 20%, it's okay, it'll come back. And they're
Right,
right. Even though you lost 20%, you will have to see a 40% gain just to break even.
right. If you're trying
Where
to do it like month to month, year to year, as
yeah,
opposed to looking at it from a like looking at a snapshot versus the whole panoramic picture.
right,
Okay,
right.
gotcha. That makes
Versus
sense.
our clients, where if we had a negative year, they would see 0% gain, 0% loss,
Hmm.
a net zero. And when the market comes back 40%, they actually see a 40% gain in that account versus now they're even.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So a lot to take in, but I love it because now I'm like, "Oh, I'm actually learning things. This is cool."
Yeah,
Like, I love this. Alright,
so that's
sweet.
I nerd out a little bit on some of these things,
No, I think it's
um,
good.
but it's fun because it's
Yeah.
concepts that people have not heard about before,
Mhm.
and, I'm the one that gets to teach it to them, and then I get
Yeah.
to build a relationship with them in the process and grow my business year after year.
Yeah, and then you I get to make money, and then I get to take you out to dinner because 'cause I'm like, "Wow, you've made all this money. Let's go to dinner. Let's
Yep,
go." Yeah,
yeah.
sweet.
In a
Alright,
lot
I
of
like that.
cases, it works the other way because I get to write the meal off.
Well, that's it. Okay. There you go. See, another tip. Look at
Or
that.
or if you're a really good client, I can get one of our, company reps to take us to
Mhm.
lunch, and then it's free for both of us.
Nice. Okay. Ah, see, there's always
It
like the loopholes that, I think a lot of times people think loophole or different things and they go, "Oh, that's, but it's like they're there for a reason.
yeah,
It's there to
it's
use."
in, in 2021, October 2021, Nationwide flew me, my girlfriend, and 20 people from our office to the Nationwide headquarters in Columbus, Ohio.
Sweet.
They paid for round trip airfare, put us up in a hotel, wined and dined us for 3 days, showed us around, and Nationwide actually owns a lot of downtown Columbus. Oh,
Mm.
they just have the Nationwide building? No, they own a stadium. There's literally
Yeah.
Nationwide Boulevard. Um, they have a stake in the college that's there,
Okay.
and, there's something else I'm forgetting, the children's hospital. So
Oh, shoot.
and
Wow.
probably, I don't know for a fact, but they probably own a lot of actual commercial and residential
Like,
real estate
yeah.
too.
Office, yeah,
They
space, stuff like that.
so they wonder, "Hey, how do they make money even in recession?" Well, if their corporate accounts aren't growing, they're still making money everywhere else from rent
Yeah.
and everything else.
Interesting.
And the cool part about the nationwide trip is my family lives in Ohio, so they let me
Oh,
stay for
nice.
3 extra days to go see grandma,
Oh, sweet. That's cool.
which is
See, that's
all
those relationships, building the
yeah,
relationships.
yeah,
Alright.
all paid for by Nationwide. So,
Nice.
different providers will take care of us like that.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. That's all I have for you on my podcast end. Couple things that I always like to leave towards the end here is, if people watch this and they're like, "Man, I gotta invest with this guy. He knows his stuff. He knows what he's talking about." Where can people find you? How can people find you?
So, I'm pretty much everywhere, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Okay.
Um, you can definitely tag me in all that.
Yeah,
I
I will.
have a physical office here in San Diego,
Sure.
and, I got a direct phone number that if anybody contacts you, I think you have my number. If not, I'll make sure you have it. Happy to help, even if it's just, an intro conversation to see if what I do could be fitting for them.
Sweet. Yeah, what if you're listening right now and not at a point where you can write anything down, we'll link everything in the show notes. So just, go to YouTube, look at the show, click the show notes, and you can find all of Fletcher's information there. And then the last bit of the podcast that I like to do here is I like to leave the guest with some time to either, promote themselves, small business, charity, just tell people something they think they need to hear and, whatever it might be. So here's your time.
Okay, cool. I hope everybody that watches got at least some value out of what we talked about. I try to bring value to every conversation that I have and even some entertainment value. If I'm training my team, I'm going to throw some dad jokes in that PowerPoint even, right?
Nice.
Um, but I pride myself on always being able to help, whether that's help you move a refrigerator or come and help you completely rearrange your financial strategy. I'm here to do whatever. Um, as a veteran, I like to be able to help in my community. I work with a lot of transitioning military as they're
Nice.
getting out. So if that applies to you, you have benefits for yourself and your family that I can advise on. Maybe even point you in the right direction. I have some referral partners out there for different career fields. Been
Sweet.
able to connect with a lot of people there. And if you're interested in working in the financial industry, I can give you an unbiased look at what I can offer versus some other companies out there, and why you should not get involved in this industry.
Nice. That's awesome, man. I want to say thank you, and I really appreciate your time. I know it's probably very valuable, it seems. So, thank you for taking time to, talk with us today, shed some light on a topic that I think a lot of people may not really know, too much about.
Yeah, hey, happy to be here. It's good to see
Excellent.
you again.
Yeah, dude. Appreciate it.
Maybe we can reverse these roles and I'll have you on my show one of these days.
I'm down. I'll join and I can play the, not even play. I can just be the guy that doesn't know anything about this stuff and you can educate me. So,
Yeah,
thank you again, man. I really appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. Good to see you, and have a good night.
Well, that's it for another episode of the Jobology podcast. Thank you, Fletcher, for enlightening us on all things financial. Before I let you guys go, a couple quick reminders. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow at Jobology Podcast on all major social media platforms. And check us out on TikTok. We're trying to grow our following there. Like we say to end every episode, make good choices.